Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away, and I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for, and I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down.
Consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injury.
There is a serious problem with Terence Crawford's most recent training video, according to boxing experts. Gareth clarified that although initially believing Crawford would defeat Canelo Alvarez, he has since changed his mind. He now leans in Canelo's direction as the battle draws near, anticipating that Crawford would take blows he has never seen before. This alteration accentuates the mounting skepticism regarding Crawford's capacity to manage Canelo's influence and endure at the greatest level.
Early on, very close rounds in the first 3 or 4. We'll be divided on who's winning. I think Canelo will get going in the second third of the fight and land some big shots. I think Crawford will look good as well. Rounds 6 to 9, we'll be looking at who's getting ascendancy in the fight. Crawford will have weathered the storm of the big Canelo punches, countered himself, still close rounds. I think Canelo will push away and, in my view, will win the fight. Because I don't think Crawford's going to put him away. And I think Canelo's a much better mover than people give him credit for. And I think Crawford will be hit more and hit harder than he's ever been hit before, but I don't think he'll go out or down. And if he does go down, he'll get up. I think it'll be a very, very close affair. And I think even if in those last 6 rounds, Crawford's got Canelo's number in terms of movement and timing, I still think if it's very close in rounds, I think it'll either be a draw or a narrow points decision for Saul Canelo Alvarez that everybody feels is very controversial, and then they'll do it again. That's how I see it playing. That's the plot, if you like, with the subplots in the drama of one of the biggest fights we've seen in Vegas.
Might start to have trouble as early as the 4th round. The primary cause of this is the abrupt change in body size and the additional muscle mass, which could cause him to move more slowly. The trainer claims that because Crawford has never fought at this specific weight previously, there will be significant modifications needed. Even the most experienced boxer may feel heavy, lose energy rapidly, and become frustrated early on if they are carrying more weight than they should. Crawford might exhaust himself before making it to the middle rounds if he is unable to regulate his pace in these circumstances.
Triple G's former trainer said that Crawford's gonna be quick in the first 4 rounds, but once Canelo figures him out and actually starts hitting Terence Crawford, in which Sanchez described as, quote, like a huge truck hitting him, it'll be game over for Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford may not have the legs for someone like Canelo in the 168-pound division. Sanchez also added that if Canelo was eventually gonna be Crawford's endgame, then Crawford should have jumped weight divisions a while back. Now, Crawford could have technically done that after the Spence fight. However, his once-a-year fight schedule prevented that from happening.
There are rumors that Terence Crawford may have suffered a shoulder injury while getting ready for the fight with Canelo Alvarez. Even though there has been no formal confirmation, the prospect has alarmed fans and observers. Given that Crawford's career has always been meticulously timed with only 1 or 2 fights annually, this development is particularly concerning. He was able to rest, recover, and get into the ring with all of his vigor because to that routine. This time, the rapid turnaround hasn't given him that luxury, so any residual pain might persist into fight night. An injury to the shoulder is not something that can be overlooked in boxing. Shoulder health is essential for almost every facet of a fighter's skill set, including blocking strikes, regulating distance, and delivering quick, accurate punches. It would be more difficult for Crawford to win Canelo's respect if even a small strain decreased his punching speed from his strong strikes. In addition to the physical effects, such an injury might have a psychological influence on him, causing him to be reluctant to give his all during interactions. In contrast to an experienced, any hesitancy might be expensive against a strong opponent like Canelo Alvarez. Crawford is going to have a difficult time if the ailment is genuine. There is absolutely little margin for mistake when facing a boxer of Canelo's ability and entering the ring with anything less than full health. Should Crawford be unable to fully rely on his shoulders for speed, power, and defensive reflexes, what was previously regarded as a perilous endeavor might become even more dangerous.
Solitary training camp and in every single solitary fight, a guy that is as old as Terence Crawford, 37, 38 years old, is going to have some type of injuries. They're going to have some type of old nagging type of stuff, especially a guy that works as ridiculously hard as Terence Crawford does. That was just a matter of time before wear and tear is going to start going and things are going to start popping off and going wrong, right? Also, you can tell that the reason that this is kind of consistent with Terence Crawford's fight schedule over the last several years, where he's been pretty much fighting one time a year. That one time a year is clearly giving him a lot of time to rest and recover from his injuries and gives his body time to heal up. And as a result, okay, he's ready to go during fight time. So I wouldn't put too much on this. I would say though that if you're a gambling person, man, you should probably want to keep your money in your pocket for this particular fight, man, because this thing can absolutely positively go either way with between the two of these guys. Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, much bigger than Terence Crawford is, or been fighting at a much bigger weight class than Terence Crawford's been fighting at, and much more experienced at that level at 168 pounds. But Terence Crawford is just such a superb fighter and such an intelligent fighter in there that you can know that he's going to be coming there to fight, and he's got a significant chance to win that fight, unless of course that injury is real. I mean, and it is significant and is preventing him from really sitting down on his punches, because he's going to have to at a point in time with Canelo Alvarez is going to have to do something to get him up off it.
Keith Thurman has offered a frank assessment of the impending battle. He emphasized that Canelo Alvarez is still a very dangerous opponent, even though he is not unbeaten. Thurman asserts that although every boxer has shortcomings, this does not imply that anyone can take advantage of them. He emphasized that Canelo is a fighter who should not be undervalued because to his background, skill set, and fortitude. Boxing defeats don't always define a career. In Canelo's instance, they have just made him a more well-rounded fighter. Thurman underlined that the notion that Canelo is beatable does not ensure Crawford's victory, since Crawford needs to perform at a level he has never demonstrated against a fighter of Canelo's stature and skill level.
An unbeatable fighter. That's fine. None of us are really unbeatable, right? But people got to understand this. Canelo Alvarez is not an unbeatable fighter. The question is, whoever he's fighting, we don't question what Canelo's going to do, right? We question what his opponents are going to do, right? It's not even really about Canelo. Canelo's going to show up as Canelo Alvarez, right? Ginger boy. So the question is, are you going to beat him? And are you going to beat him today? Like when fight night happens, is it you and is it now? You ready to beat him now? He's not unbeatable. Maybe you can beat him, but are you going to do it? And are you going to do it now? You feel me? Because I thought Danny Jacobs was going to have a way better performance.
Danny actually performed well against Canelo, but he didn't take any chances. He was doing just enough to not get beaten.
And Canelo was feeling himself. Canelo had preparation. He had that head movement, losing to Floyd, this and that. He fought some flat-footed fighters. He got used to getting his head here and there and ducking down and then pulling out and spinning out and little tactics. I've never seen somebody make Danny Jacobs miss so many punches. It was highly impressive. I did not expect that, because of the amateur pedigree growing up with Danny Jacobs. I know exactly what kind of New York fighter he is.
Widespread interest has been generated by recent video of Crawford and Canelo's altercation. Unexpectedly, Crawford looked bigger than anticipated and was nearly Canelo's size. Canelo has historically been recognized for his strength and stocky frame at higher weight classes, so this is unexpected. The appearance of given his physique, some have questioned how well Crawford has added mass. Some contend that size alone does not equate to strength or endurance, while others view this as evidence that Crawford has successfully bulked up. Whether he can naturally bear that additional weight in the ring without slowing down is the main obstacle. He may be more intimidating if he appears larger, but the real test will be how his body reacts after 12 rounds.
With that said, they're going to face off in an epic showdown. And the big talk, obviously, is the size difference, right? That Canelo Alvarez is much bigger than the smaller Terence Bud Crawford, who is essentially coming up from 147 in the minds of many. But really and truly, he's coming up from 154 because he actually had a fight at 154, a title opportunity, his only fight at 154 last August when he took on Israel Madrimov, okay? And he beat Israel Madrimov, unanimous decision, to become a 4-division champion. But as you see here in this photo, there's not a big size difference. And actually, obviously, we know Terence Crawford stands at 5'8", got a 74-inch arm reach. Canelo stands at 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach. There's not a massive size difference at all whatsoever. Now, clearly, as you see, Terence Crawford clearly has on what looks like Balenciaga shoes, and we know they are extremely big shoes, and it make you slightly taller. And Canelo Alvarez has on flats. The thing here is, the more important thing is, not if Terence Crawford can take Canelo Alvarez's punches. It's not if Terence Crawford, is going to get bullied around the ring. The concern with the weight is how Terence Crawford carries it himself. Does he start to fatigue in the second half of the fight? Should he get to the second half of the fight?
Terence Crawford should approach his battle with Canelo Alvarez, according to Timothy Bradley Jr., who is well known for his championship career and astute analysis. Bradley believes that pressing the action early is Crawford's best chance of winning. He emphasized that Canelo is a boxer who steadily gains strength and masters control and rhythm as the rounds go by. This implies that Crawford's safety increases with the length of the battle. Bradley emphasized that Crawford has the ring knowledge, speed, and precision to stop Canelo's momentum if he puts pressure on him in the first few rounds. Crawford might surprise the Mexican star and take charge by taking chances early and refusing to let Canelo set the tempo. Bradley also emphasized that Crawford cannot realistically save strength for the endgame because the extra weight he is carrying could deplete his energy in subsequent rounds. Rather, he advised Crawford to try to put an end to things before exhaustion sets in by relying on his innate explosiveness and quick reactions. Bradley believes that Crawford's immediate imposition and Canelo's defeat before the bout devolves into more complex territory is the safest and most shrewd course of action.
He can move a little bit, but yeah, he likes to come forward with that power. But you put him on his back foot. Let me tell you similar too. Remember, you know this guy named Usyk who put Fury on his back foot? Yeah. Push the pace on him? Yeah. With volume, feints. Put Canelo on his back foot, Crawford. That's what you gotta do. You gotta put him on his back foot. Hell to the damn yeah. That's how you get it done, man. That's one aspect that you're gonna have to do. And hey, I would advise you to do it as early as damn possible. Do it as early as possible, because guess what? If you do that, you're gonna get control right away of the judges, right? They're gonna be looking at you. You're gonna dictate the pace. You're gonna dictate the flow of the fight. You gotta have him react to you, not you reacting to him. That's how you gain control of the fight real quick, real soon. Get active with that jab. You don't necessarily have to come out in a southpaw stance. You can come out in the orthodox stance. You know, what's the punch that always hits Canelo all the time? Easy work, the jab. Triple G was able to land his jab over and over. Floyd Mayweather was able to land his jab over and over. Bivol was able to land his jab over and over. You control him, you push him back, you walk forward. Anytime Canelo give you an inch going back, you take that inch going forward. That's how you gonna get this done. You're gonna have to be brave, my man, Crawford. You're gonna have to be brave. You're gonna have to be on your P's and Q's when you're walking forward as well, because he will snap back. He will snap back with them left hooks, right hands to the body, or looping right hands over the top, or even straight right hands. Sometimes he might even come with a two-piece combination. But you got to put him on his back foot as often as possible, man. With your how cerebral you are, with your feints, with your movement, snapping that.
Al Stanton, Terence Crawford's sparring partner, has provided an insider's viewpoint that runs counter to some of the worries expressed. Stanton observed that Crawford has demonstrated more than amazing strength during training. He said Crawford was strong, nimble, and able to defend himself against opponents who were physically bigger. He claims that Crawford has easily adapted to the demands of heavier opponents and does not appear to be struggling with the extra weight. Fans who worry that Crawford would struggle are reassured to hear this from someone who has walked the same path as him. Stanton's comments imply that Crawford is embracing the challenge without losing his essence as a fighter because of his innate athleticism and work ethic.
Very good at kind of holding fighters, putting his weight on them. You're a big boy for 168, Al, so how did he manage and cope with that when you kind of picture Canelo doing that to him?
Nah, he's strong. That man is strong. He's strong. So I don't think he'll have a problem, you know what I'm saying, with that.
What do you think, from your takeaways from that sparring, is the key for Terence to defeat Canelo Alvarez?
Just use his skills. I think he has the better skills, and I'd say just box him, you know what I mean? Just box him the whole night.
Given your experiences with him, and as you mentioned, you know, he's strong in those sparring sessions, do you have no doubts then that when he's in there at 168, he'll feel fully fledged and capable of performing for those 12 rounds?
Yeah. For 37 years old, like, he's training like he's like 25. Like, I don't think there'll be no problem at all with the fight.
What do you think he has to be mindful of that Canelo can produce? What do you think he has to be wary of in that fight?
Power. That's it.
Sean Porter, a former welterweight champion, also offered his evaluation, emphasizing Crawford's handling of his weight gain. Crawford has added pounds gradually and deliberately rather than rushing into bulking up, according to Porter. He said that after initially gaining about 10 pounds, Crawford put on an additional 10 to make sure at each step, the body had time to adapt. Porter claims that this methodical technique is the best way to manage weight changes since it spares the body from needless strain. Porter noted that Crawford's speed and movement have not been compromised because he is bearing the burden equally. This type of balance is necessary for a boxer whose fighting style depends on agility and sharpness to compete against a veteran like Canelo.
A fighter can do when he's trying to gain 10 pounds to fight at another weight class is hit the weights, up your protein and things of that nature. I saw the man eat. The man is eating brilliantly. You know, he's doing it all right. And that's what I meant when I said, you know, when he decided to take on this challenge and Canelo Alvarez, it takes a good 2 years to successfully put on 10 pounds, along with successfully putting on 10 pounds to get your body to acclimate to that weight, right? So when people talk about him being out of the ring for 13 months, they really have to also accept they have to understand that he's been working and training for everything that he needs to do on fight night against Canelo Alvarez.
So you saw him in camp as he was building and putting that weight on, and you said that you think he's doing it right. From what you saw then from training, do you think he's carrying the weight well then? Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I saw it in his legs. I could see it in his arms and his shoulders, and it's distributed evenly. You'll get a lot of guys who are bottom heavy. You know, they don't have much on the top half, so once you get to the inside, they don't have a lot that they can do with you from this standpoint. I know a lot of people are concerned with Canelo Alvarez. Should he get in close? What's the strength situation going to be like? Well, Crawford's put on the right muscle mass in the chest area, in the ab region, and in the arms and things of that nature. I think he's going to be able to handle the strength just fine.
That concludes the video for today. Keep an eye out. Till the next time.